Good morning, namaskar, and a very warm welcome to all of you for the 81st Foundation Day of CSIR. Is it clear? Audible? The 26th September is a very, very special day for all the employees of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, that's CSIR. It is our birthday, Council's birthday. It was on this very day in 1942 that CSIR came into being. Every year, all the laboratories and institutes of CSIR across the world celebrate this day with great pomp and gaiety. It is on this occasion to celebrate the accomplishment of the year that has gone by and plan for the future as well to serve the nation with still greater dedication and zeal. It is also an occasion to accord recognition to excellence in science through various presentations, honors, and awards. Over the decades, CSI has been a partner in the nation's industrial development for indigenous capacity creation after India's independence. With the change in policy regime, CSR has successfully developed patent protected technologies. Beyond 2005, it is focused on the development of niche creating globally competitive technologies and now targeting socially relevant technologies. To celebrate and mark the 84th CSI Foundation Day, we are very fortunate that we have two eminent personalities with us. We have with us Professor Padma Shri Professor Rohini Godbole as our chief guest of this event, who is joining us online. We also have with us Padma Shri Professor Amitabh Malik, who is joining us in person, and he is the guest of honor of the day. So before I start this program formally, may I please request our director, sir, to welcome the guest of honor with a sapling, please. As you all know, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is working on the mission to build a new CSIR for a new India, with a vision to pursue science which strives for global impact, technology that enables innovation, drives industry, and nurtures transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing inclusive economic development for the people of India. So now I request you all to please stand for CSIR song to remember our magnificent past and get motivated for the future endeavors as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Now, please take your seats and we start the program for the day. The people and nation center the trust to science, technology, and society remains cornerstone of CSIR mission. In view of rising dreams and aspirations of this nation, its expectation from CSR is ever increasing. CSR is now 81 years old and was built by Dr. Bhatnagar to meet the challenges of that time. It is now need of the hour that CSR fulfill the aspirations of growing India. With this, I now invite our director, Dr. Atul Narayan Vaidya, for his welcome remarks, please. Sir.
Very good morning to all. And first of all, belated but then happy CSR Foundation Day. It is on 26th of September. And then, but this time its celebration in NEERI is delayed in all laboratories. In fact, because all of us were called there on 26th in Delhi, our Honorable Minister of DST and with our Vice President of CSR, he actually inaugurated or he just had a Foundation Day lecture there. And all of us have basically listened to the address by Director General Dr. N. Kalai, and she has put forward very right path. And there are many slides which were not visible that day to our audience. I will try to share those slides after I get it. Because it's a path, you can say, kind of roadmap ahead of us. So this is 81st Foundation Day of CSR. CSR has completed 80 years of establishment, and coming 20 years, we are going to have 100th year of CSR. And there are a lot of changes which are expected in CSR. I will just narrate few things which have transpired directly there in the Delhi meeting. One is that very important thing is that one CSR, one vision. One CSR, one vision is individual laboratories have to merge their mandate with the CSR mandate overall, without losing their identities and without losing their research areas. That is first thing. Second thing is that it was prominently said that in CSR, I is missing. I stands for industry, and our research has to be industry oriented, application oriented, and actually it should be society oriented. And therefore, all of us have to take additional efforts to make our research fruitful for industry, and industry has to be involved right from the stage one. That is one message. And industry has to contribute, because Minister clearly said that unless industry contributes financially, there is no accountability for industry as well as for CSR. And industry will fund us money only when we have stuff in our project. We have proper applicability, proper science, and proper engineering involved into that. And it must have potential to get into a technology mode. Then only industry would come forward to you. Investing money. Industry does come to you under some compulsion. Like in NEERI also we say that if somebody is under the compulsion to come to NEERI because of NGT or Supreme Court or regulatory compliance needs, NEERI is okay. We should be proud of that because we are favored like that. It's a bigger institution, top class institution, giving all the correct results. But that is a soft business. In fact, we have to reach to industries with our capabilities. That is true with all laboratories, with what we can have. And therefore, a lot of industrial interaction is planned at CSR level. And I think we also have initiated, at least we have plans to start in NEERI also. That was one of the commitments which I had given in the beginning, that we will go to industry of our own and look for the hard-earned business rather than soft business. And that is because I is missing in CSIR, that I has to be permanently brought back. So research cannot be just research for research sake. Research has to have application, it has to have industrial application and funding from industry right from the beginning. That is number one. There is Second thing which prominently has come out is that in future, all the projects which will be funded by government or funded by CSR will have a prior techno-economic feasibility. You cannot do research just for research sake. You have to establish in your project proposal that if this is done, this will be the technology outcome, or this will be the outcome of the experiments, and this will have applicability. Not only applicability, if at all there is applicability, this will be at this cost. And without that, and without proper recognition of this, there won't be any funding or any research projects in future. That is another message which was given to us. Secondly, CSR has to depict itself. CSR may sound laboratories in media, because minister clearly said that most of the time it is observed that CSR does take a lot of efforts, and is at the 11th hour credit is taken by some other institutions like IITs or maybe IIMs. Right? Even if you are working in COVID, but then already credit will go to IIM. And minister being doctor himself, he said he knows better how the credits are taken away from CSR despite all efforts. We said you should be very careful in doing this, and you should also, and therefore, getting to media in proper way, and therefore you must have read, and I think I've passed on many messages on WhatsApp that we have released that one week, one laboratory. This is the theme which is going to be introduced, in which media will be rather showered with the information on one lab or 1 week. There can be 2-3 articles, there can be 2-3 achievements of that particular laboratory. And it can be started with any laboratory as such. And even if you think, if NEERI thinks there are some great things, so we can approach DG and our number can be pushed forward right now. So there is no hard and fast sequence in that. But one big one laboratory, that is the concept, and we all should be here for that. One more thing which has come out is that there are 10 points program which are being done by DG. The most important thing is that revitalization of the CSR. That is the theme which was DG's address was centered around this theme, that revitalization of CSR. It is not reorientation or restructuring, it is revitalization. So in the last 80 years, we have to really analyze where we are lagging, where we are going ahead, and we have to revitalize ourselves. That is the message which was given to us. And most important thing I can see, women empowerment is another thing which has clearly come out from the DG's address and the future path of CSR. So, women scientists, women researchers, women girl students, they have to be very proactive and they have to come forward without any hesitation, and policy and government administrative support will be there. Women empowerment is one of the most important things which was touched upon. And in lighter sense, the minister said, anyway, it took CSR to have first woman day 80 years. So women empowerment is not that easy, as it is said. So it took CSR 80 years to have first woman day. So that is the thing. So these are the few messages. So what we should do, we are doing very well. Again, I will not reiterate those things. And again and again, I say, directly just a kind of direction. All of you are doing very good work. And today is the work to remember all our past scientists, past directors, past members, because it is the CSR Foundation Day. Everybody has contributed to NEERI and CSR government, and you are also contributing, and on all fronts we are okay, but then we have to introspect ourselves, whether we are doing it properly, proper way. And I will not get into all these details because my interaction with all of you keeps on, I keep on telling that thing again and again. So that is one thing. Second thing is that today I will just introduce one thing that I have asked Dr. Lisa Deshpande, she is there. She is going to superannuation is not a word to be used like that. But then before somebody superannuates, he has put 30 years of his or her life into CSR, 30-40 years. So the experience of that particular person, if it can be compiled in the form of some publication or some book, NEERI publication, that is to be published on CSR or NEERI Foundation. Published in the sense in NEERI itself. It's not a commercial publication. But It is to recognize the contribution of one particular person, and I request I will not spell out the persons who are going to be superannuated, but those who are going to superannuate in coming year or maybe 1 or 2 years, including myself, we should try to compile all our expertise. We should try to compile all our scientific things so that it becomes in one kind of publication or compilation, which will be a guide to coming generation or coming scientists or new scientists in the CSR. So that becomes a memory of that particular person, and it becomes a kind of guide to the new researchers who are working in the area. And this is open to all technical officers. Even I don't mind if an administrative officer writes something about the administrative procedures and protocols. It's absolutely no problem. It has to be like that because we administration and scientific, these are the two wheels on which we are running. So therefore, today, Dr. Rima Deshpande has combined her skills, analytical skills on water as water. It is an example, and that will be published today. But I request all those who are going to superannuate shortly, so they should put their expertise. And I will be happy till I am director, or everybody will be happy to publish this on NEERI Foundation Day or CSR Foundation Day. It's a contribution, kind of gift of that particular scientist or technical officer or the expert to this institute. If you take this flag high, somebody will take that flag high. So with this, because our chief is Mr. Mohammed, he will not like to speak. He is not well, but I still thank him that he has come. So there is some change in the program. I will not take much time of yours. So all the best. And again, I wish you very happy CSR Foundation Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing the snippets and key messages of our respected DG, especially about 1 week, 1 lab, revitalization of CSIR, and also women empowerment in CSIR. I think that's a great motivation for all the employees and research staff. And I'm sure this is going to take NEERI and CSIR to the next level of transformative changes. With this, there has been, as sir also mentioned, there has been some change in the schedule. So I now invite our guest of honor, Padma Shri Professor Dr. Amitabh Malik. Before he comes for his address, I'd like to give a brief overview about his profile. Professor Dr. Amitabh Malik has been a research scientist in the Ministry of Defense since 1966. And he was among the very first in India to develop indigenous laser technology for defense applications. His work culminated in establishing the Laser Science and Technology Center, LASTEC, in Delhi in 1998. As the director, LASTEC, his pioneering work in high-power lasers put India on the world map of laser weapons, capability for satellite defense. Professor Malik was awarded Padma Shri for his contribution in 2002 for improving India's defense capability. From 1988 to 1994, Professor Malik was posted as the advisor defense technology at the Embassy of India in Washington, D.C., where he was instrumental in reversing the US technology embargo policy against India and establishing the foundation of Indo-US cooperation in advanced defense technology. Professor Malik has served as member for National Security Advisory Board from 2003 to 6, where besides defense modernization, he brought new focus on space security and energy security at the apex level. He has remained active as an analyst in strategic affairs in the areas of space security as well as energy and environment security. He has also authored 7 books on technology and security issues and has contributed significantly with about 50 technical and strategic analysis papers. Presently, he is one of the founding members and honorable trustee of the think tank Pune International Center and is a distinguished fellow of PIC, and he heads the Energy, Environment and Climate Change Program, where he has been actively mentoring and engaging with public awareness on climate change. So this is a long to tell about, but I'll stop here. And with this, let me please invite and welcome with all of you, Professor Malik, for his address as guest of honor for this event. Thank you, sir.
Namaskar and greetings of the CSIR annual day. As your director said, It was good at all, but it was never too late to give good wishes and to wish the very best possible future. The topic you have chosen to speak today is the India at 75, the energy and environment challenges that we are facing. Then somebody might ask, what is a defense technology and a security expert talking about energy and environment? Let me take a moment. I'm basically a laser technologist, as you just now heard. But after retirement, 30 years ago, I was one of the okay. After retirement, I was part of the National Security Advisory Board. Usually it's a one-year term, but for some reason, must have done good or something. I was there for 3 years. Having gone through the routine things that you do about the defense modernization and some all sorts of things, third year I decided to do something unconventional, which is energy and environmental security, which did not exist at the level. And by great surprise, and probably you are also aware, our definition of energy security was how much oil we can store in case of an emergency. Mind you, this was 1995 or 2005, and we already had ministries of power, ministries of MNRE, renewable energy, ministries of every other ministry that one can think of. They were out there, but they were all working in silos. So, as a national security advisory advisor at the FX level, I thought I'd bring all of them together and really decide, bring focus on the national security aspect of the energy and environment component. So that was my journey into this area. So, 22. But although it has been a long journey, I also took a long time to understand and accept, because I've been a defense expert, and energy, of course, is very critical for defense. But it took quite some time. In the meanwhile, take a moment to apologize. I'm not doing well. Not keeping well. I'm some upset. That's the reason I've taken the permission, the director, to sit and talk to you. And once in a while, I might get a work. So, bear with me. So, yes, we established what we call Pune International Center in Pune. You are all aware of the India International Center in Delhi, which is the premier think tank that was established by Radhakrishnan way back in 1964. But we are all members there, and we thought that why everything should be in Delhi? Why not we try to create some thinking and planning capacity in Pune? That was the beginning of the Pune International Center in 2011. I have to say that its membership has grown to 450. Dr. Mashurka, who was your ex-DG, is our president. Dr. Vijay Kelkar, a very eminent economist, is our vice president. I chair the programs committee, and so on and so forth. We are much of enthusiastic young people who are touching 80 or beyond 80, and so on. So I will add to what your director was saying, that as you were running it, you were saying you should put down your memoir, what you did and what not. I will, if I'm allowed to add one line to that. I say also please think clearly what you want to do after that. Because once you are retired from the government service, you have huge amount of knowledge and experience. That should not go waste just because you're retired. You have a clean slate, like I have. And I decided to jump into energy, environment, and climate change. So from my own experience, I'm saying, we are scientists, we are thinkers, we are planners, we are enabled people, we are gifted people. It's a very small percentage in the whole country, of the world. We should not be happy that I published a paper or I got a PhD. That's just the beginning. Please see how your knowledge can grow and continue. So with your permission, I add that much. That when you, before you prepare anyway, you start thinking about that. And because after 60, it's a new chapter starts. Believe me, most exciting chapter. So the PIC, Pune International Center, recently has got a lot of brand opposite NCL, Pune. And I was born in 1942 when CSIR came out. And NCL was one of the first lab to really take good shape. Dr. Finch was the first president, was the chairman. And I have vague memories as a kid, but excitement. So NCL came up, and NPL came up, and so on and so forth. So unfortunately, I can talk about lot about my 80 years of experience. But what is more important is what is ahead. So what we have achieved in 75 years of independence is of course very good. And yet we could have done much better in many ways. And that is the kind of basket that every country has. And there's no point in comparing because everybody is different. Everybody is different, every country is different. And as long as we feel proud, this is my country, this has done so well. That's the point. Coming to energy and environment, climate change. You are aware that our chase for energy, largely based on fossil fuel, that was the second industrial revolution, when energy became accessible, affordable, and available. And everything started happening, gigantic momentum. We have seen the kind of GDP growth that has happened in the last 25 years. India itself started very eagerly because we were all petrol by oil wars. Here now fantastically well on economic front, on agricultural front, on food front, on planning front. Any front you take, I think India has done really fantastically well. But do we sit on our laurels? No. Because the next few years, let us say, we're looking at 2047, the next 25 years are going to be very, very critical. Particularly so in the context of energy, environment, and climate change. I think all of you are aware that IPCC report of last year clearly said that this is the deciding decade of consequences, that what is done within this decade up to 2030 and what remains to be done beyond that will decide the trajectory of the human progress. Why so? Because if you look back, even 35 years, not more than that, when I was young age and going to college and all that, we never bothered about climate change, we never bothered about fossil fuel signature and things like that. Why? Because that was not an issue. But now it is taken such a large proportion that it's an issue where it is being recognized that it's an existential threat to human existence. I think you are all aware that there is a movement called sixth extinction, how to prevent the sixth extinction. Which means what? It means if we don't do things right in the next few years, mankind could be heading for sixth extinction. What's the difference? Difference is only 1 degree centigrade rise so far. above the 15 degree centigrade average temperature that has been there on the earth for thousands of years, more than 12,000 years. Very often, it is perceived that 1 degree temperature really should not matter. But I hope most of you are able to now see how that 1 degree temperature average rise already matters. Precipitation has changed because the amount of moisture in the atmosphere has changed. The depth streams in the upper atmosphere have changed. The Gulf streams in the ocean have changed. Ocean temperature has gone up by only 0.9 degrees centigrade. And at this rate, if we are able to understand that nature is huge, therefore, a small difference in the nature is going to create a huge impact. Once we understand that, and once we realize that it is up to this generation to actually go ahead and do what's required. One small example. I don't know whether you're aware. There's a day called Earth Overshoot Day, Ecological Overshoot Day. That is the day on which the Earth has already consumed the year's quota of Earth resources. Ideally, it should be somewhere in December. For this year, it was 27th of July. Which means what? Which means for 5 months or more, we are actually worrying from the future. Whose future? Our children, our grandchildren. It is that serious, mind you. Fear mongering is not my purpose, but it's a reality that we must accept as scientists because we have the capacity to measure, understand, evaluate, analyze. That's what our capability is. So fast forward, Dr. Kalam was my kind of guru. We were together for many years. So after we finished with his presidency, and AIC started operating. In 2012, we now had our first conference on energy, environment, and national security. And I was able to get him to come for the conference. Very typically, Dr. Kalam, while going, he said, my old friend is there, and that's why I've come here. But I want to give a message. I didn't come here just to give honor to stuff honor. Message was that you want to make a change for it. From that day onward, in coordination with PIC, Pune International Center, we have been working on a program to reduce the carbon signature of the Pune metropolitan region, we call it PMR. It's a large complex, almost comparable to a Western European country. And in 2021, we worked on 2021 January, we published a paper on making PMR net carbon neutral by 2030. Everybody called me mad. I said, people went on the moon because somebody like Kennedy was mad enough to say that we will land on the moon. So it is that kind of a statement, this kind of a vision that you can put yourself to that energizes. Mind you, of course, we are COVID for 2 years and all that. We have gone back to doing our work. We have done a very detailed preliminary feasibility study. What you were saying, before taking up anything, do a feasibility study. We have done a very detailed feasibility study, technology status and tech aspect. And mind you, this feasibility study is being funded by industries. Now they want to know how to go to carbon because sustainability has become a big word. Everybody understands that unless you're sustainable, you're finished. So this feasibility study, which we completed just a few months ago, shows that if we take a deep decarbonization route, and repeat my word, if we take a deep decarbonization route in all sectors, energy, ecology, infrastructure, transportation, everywhere. Then the feasibility study shows that our total carbon footprint of the nation will actually dip below 2020 level by 2030. Yes, of course, 2030 making carbon neutral is a long shot. And I'll come to that again in a while. But to be able to bind the curve, which is right now increasing exponentially, to bend that curve back downward and bring it to below 2020 level of emission, total emission by this end of this decade is something which is doable. So we are now launching into pilot projects to be funded by champions of the cause, industries are coming forward, and things are happening. Why am I telling this story? Is that PIC, Pune International Center, has nothing to do with government. It is not opposed to government, it is not with the government, it is doing what it believes in. We are doing policies research in various areas. One major area is climate, energy, environment, and climate research. This is my baby. But there are many other things that we are doing. I'm speaking to a elite scientist body, and the future is in front of you. I'm saying this is what we can create so that our research, our knowledge does not end with the publication of a paper or an award based. It must go way beyond. And the director very rightly said, others must get interested. Industry must get interested. That's the quality of work that we must do. Going back to what we are trying to do. So, the awareness that climate change is a very serious hot topic has been now become quite aware. I mean, 5 years ago, when I started with this topic, my whole goal was to make people aware. Now, awareness has increased. In fact, if you will quote number, your number for awareness 10 years down, 10 years ago was 35%. It is now come to 71%. Awareness that climate change is inevitable to harm humankind. Second level of awareness is the economic impact of climate change. Earlier, it was the perception that if you try to take care of the environment, you are paying an economic penalty. And that's why the environmental laws and all were taken as the decelerators of economy. That has changed for people. Now, environment and economics are two sides of the same coin. They both win together, they both lose together. This statization is now coming through the economics. So Pune has the famous Brooklyn Institute of Economics. They are our partners. In fact, I hope many of you know Dr. Machindra calls himself the dangerous optimist. And I see no reason why I cannot be dangerous optimist. We have to be able to with a question at some time. Now, what is the dangerous optimism? The dangerous optimism is what seems impossible. First, study, analyze, and build models to know that yes, it is possible. It's possible with what kind of effort, what level of expertise, what do we have, what do we have to generate, what kind of funding is required, what kind of policy reforms are required. And that, I'm telling you what we get. When we spell out everything, that this is doable. And we have answers for all the questions that can be asked. Magic happens. So something that's going to happen. Industries are coming to us now saying that, oh, you have done a lot of work in low carbon economy. There are models of low carbon economy. There is a circular economy, there is a donut economy, and so on and so forth. All that knowledge is there. Some of the Western countries are following that. We do not have the attitude or the bandwidth for addressing something which is not yet pinching the shoe today. But the finest come when you know that in the young generation, we are borrowing from you. What is your future? Somebody can say, well, देखा जाएगा. But that's the Indian way. देखा जाएगा, चल सकता है. I think that era is over. We need to understand that what needs to be done today could have been done yesterday. It is with that urgency that we are pushing this climate change thing. Actually, I can go on talking very lot of things, but yeah. What is happening today is industry-wide, society-wide, and educational institution-wide. Pune University, which large campus, they have accepted that we will turn on their campus into net carbon zero in no time. Why a net carbon zero? The net carbon zero means that it's difficult for us to go to zero carbon sort of this. But if we can compensate for the carbon that is being emitted by some way or other, of course the Western model is trading, carbon trading. But I'm saying net carbon zero in the real sense that if we are investing in technology that can remove carbon dioxide, gases from the atmosphere at a cost and a rate larger than what we are emitting. I hope you know that today for emitting carbon, nobody pays annuity. Whether it's a truck, whether it's a car, whether it's an industry, or whatever it is, yes, there is some energy audit, there is some carbon audit will come, but there is no punishment. There is no punishment. So we are now insisting that at local unit level, I think you are all aware, the Amendment 74 of our Constitution says local body units have unitary powers for doing something good for their own region. So whether it's the municipal corporation, whether it's a panchayat, they have the power today to actually do what they want to do, and as long as they don't take to do. We are energizing these kind of mechanisms to move towards not just reducing carbon footprint, but also supporting technology innovation in removing carbon. Imagine within this decade, if the direct air removal of carbon, DAC is called, carbon dioxide can be removed directly from the air by using polymer, by many other technologies and so on and so forth. And NCL is our partner working with it. It is yet to be proven in principle, is proven, but viability in terms of commercial success is just about getting proven. But beyond that, what is required is that it should be scalable and it should be possible to actually implement it in a large scale. It should be win-win situation. Then all the industry will come in. What is the catch? Today there is a price of carbon. We call it the social cost of carbon, which is $86 per kg. So actually our country is paying the UN body $86 for every kilogram of carbon that we emit. It's a notional book adjustment, but it's there. Now, if we can introduce carbon accounting at the municipal level, at the panchayat level, and so on and so forth, district level, then it's like energy audit. It's like keeping year-to-year track of how are you performing in terms of the carbon dioxide. That will decide what is the future of your country. That process is already on. I hope you understand the enormity of this opportunity, where we are not talking about a GDP which today does not count anything about the water resources. GDP only today is a measure of money transaction. So even if there is a cyclone and loss, GDP increases because there's activity. But no, the real GDP should be a green GDP. The green GDP is something which will factor in the earth resources that have been used, the price to the climate change, price to the humanity. Once we do that, then it will be added or subtracted from the notional, numerical GDP number. We have tried that in a model. It's eye-opening. And if that eye-opening happens at every level, every municipality level, every industry level, every institution level, hospitals, malls, commercial establishments, railways, aviation, everywhere. Yes, just as you account your money, your financial performance. Please produce an account of your common performance. So all that is already happening. I'm happy to say that we have made a small part in setting the process because fortunately, KIC, thanks to good work done, we have access to the NITI Aayog, the Minister's Office, the ministries. They take note of what we recommend. And this is taking 10 years. We have seen that for 10 years, PIC has been producing analytical research papers, policy research papers with no idea. My friends, this agenda.
Thank you so much, sir. I've really touched everyone here, especially how IPCC report has raised concerns of all, not only scientists, but beyond that, even others that's going to affect laymen. Now, second important thing that we talked about was Earth overshoot day. I think that's again an important concern that we all need to think, especially researchers and scientists. Now, as I move to the next segment of this program, and as I see a lot of students are sitting here and young generation in the backside as well, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research is known for its cutting-edge R&D knowledge base in diverse science and technology areas, and is a contemporary R&D organization, CSIR, with its dynamic network of 37 national laboratories, 39 outreach centers, 3 innovation complexes, and 5 units with a pan-India presence. We are around 3,460 active scientists, supported by more than 4,350 scientific and technical staff. You will be really surprised and will be really proud to know that CSIR is ranked 37th among 1,587 government institutions worldwide and is the only Indian organization among the top 100 global government institutions, according to the Simago Institutions World Ranking 2021. CSIR holds 7th rank in Asia and leads the country at the very first position. Now that's really proud for all of us. And why I give this introduction and background, because I was going to invite 2 of our senior colleagues, Dr. Abha Sargaonkar and Engineer Ashish Sharma, who are going to launch SEPRA and WDS, that stands for Database Standardization Framework for Water Distribution System. I request both of them to please come on the stage and provide brief insight about the same. I also request the guest of honor and our director to help them launch the system that is displayed on the screen.
मैं क्या करना है? कुछ नहीं करना।
Automatically. So this is pollution rate regulation.
Thank you very much, sir, for inaugurating this SAFRA WDS portal on this auspicious stage CSI Foundation Day for this. Just want to give brief about the background of development of SAFRA WDS, why we have developed this portal and for whom we have developed this portal. When we were doing water safety plan projects for various cities in India, Hyderabad, Nagpur, Amravati, Pune, what we found that a lot of data is scattered. What we require for water supply network, sewage network, for bringing drinking water safety in for the communities, then this data is required for analysis purpose. So this data resides with different departments, water department, sewage department, road department, and this is essential for analysis and decision making purpose, that what is the condition of the pipe in the water supply network and which pipe needs replacement or rehabilitation. What is the cost involved in replacement of pipes? So making this decision becomes difficult if the data is insufficient and scattered. So to make this data in organized form, what we need a systematic database framework. So that's why we have developed this portal. And in 2019, Bureau of Indian Standards wanted to develop Indian standards for asset management of water and wastewater systems. So based on with that background, based on ISO 24516, which is the referred standards by India BIS, and Amrit guidelines for Amrit cities, we all know Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation. Amrit guidelines are given. So under those Amrit guidelines, there are standard, or you can say the standard format are given to maintain the data for infrastructure, cities infrastructure like water network, sewer network, network. So taking these two into consideration, the ISO standards 24516 and Amrut guidelines by Government of India. With taking these two into consideration, we have developed this systematic database framework in the form of a portal. So this is available online to any municipal corporation or water board, as well as it is available to the Gram Panchayats, who are the nodal agencies to maintain the water supply network at village level in the Jal Jeevan Mission program of Government of India. Every house is getting functional tap household connection through Jal Jeevan Mission program. So to get this FHDC, they are laying lots of water network in village at village level. So Gram Panchayats are the nodal bodies who are supposed to maintain their own network at block level or village level. So right from the day one, they can register into this portal and maintain their data of their infrastructure, manage their assets throughout the lifespan of the network, update it, download the data, analyze it, use it for decision making, and whatever corrections or updations they make into their infrastructure, they can again update their data in this portal for years together. It can be maintained and used in for decision making by all the government, urban local bodies, as well as rural local bodies, gram panchayats, or whoever is the in charge at block level and village level. So thank you very much, sir, for inaugurating this. I invite Ashish Sharma to give just a brief about the technicality and functionalities of this portal in this.
Thank you, madam. You already explained most of the things. Just I take 2 minutes more. uh, the most important thing in this portal is that we have developed that portal considering not only the ISO only or AMRUT guidelines, we also considered about the OGC compliance. Most of the people may heard about that. That is Open Geospatial Consortium, which assures that if your portal or if your things are in OGC compliance, it means that data can be accessible to any format, any devices or any platform. It can be accessible to mobile, it can be accessible to the tablet, it can be anywhere. You can access that data. So this is one of the platform you can access that data by going to the website and you can access that data. But if you do not want to visit that website and if you have any device which support OGC, means we support GIS data. And it now the lot of devices are there, like a lot of softwares are like that, Water Jam, Planet we have developed, and other most of the softwares are there which support GIS data. It can, with that data can be automatically linked to that database. They can download that data in their software. They can analyze that data in their software and can put again what are the results they are getting again in this database. So it gives you the it is a very huge step in doing that to making any portal OGC compliant. It means that it is very useful for operation and maintenance of the thing. Suppose a field engineer go to the field, he has to dig that pipe and he know about that. What are the pipes beside this pipe? What are the main highways are there? What are the sewer networks are there? And if it changes that something like that, if this pipe need to be replaced with this pipe, then straight away it goes to access that attribute, change that attribute, submit, and it automatically real time it changes in the database. That is the beauty of the OGC compliance. That is the point I want to give you. And then also we have developed this portal in such a capacity that all of the municipal corporation, not only Nagpur Municipal Corporation, but all the municipal corporation in India can have a login in this. Can they put their data in that? Of course, each and every data is encapsulated from one user to other. Only the user, which is the owner of the data, can access that data with their login and password and other encrypted key. The portal is also secured by SSL certification, so all the data, all the transaction is secure. So you can see that OGC compliance guarantees three things. All the data should be in the bank format. All the data should have the facility to query. You can query the data, you can retrieve the attribute of the data, and you can process it on the go. On the go in the portal, you can have a processing facility, like you can create a buffer around that pipe network. You can have a distance measurement on the. So all these guaranteed, if your portal is OGC compliant, it guarantees all these features. So this is that when you put that data, it will be available for hundreds of years. Like our network is at 60, 70, 80 years old. So who knows that before 20 years, before it 40 years, which person has laid that data? How many breakages are there in the pipe? Where is that data? You can put that data in this data, so you have all the history of the pipe in coming years. So this is some of the things. So okay. And we have also created it is all the reports are available. You can have a look on this. And last but not the least, thank you for development of this portal. I thank my team, Dr. Abha, Dr. Shubham, and Nimita and Neha for developing this portal. And last but not the least, our mentor, Dr. Rajesh Biniwale, and our director, sir, Dr. Atul. So I thank you all, and last but not least, all the NEERI staff for providing me opportunity to share this information with you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
One request as a director, please start using these portals within NEERI first. And don't leave it at the portal stage, because I have seen many portals develop and left like that. It has to be put in practically. This is a request, because 3 days before there was a OFC breakage and some taking work was going. So start from NEERI itself. And that can be a good start on CSIR foundation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing a very important information. And I think this will be a one-stop shop for so many cities and panchayat level and villages also to get their data managed for water supply system. Now, with this, I move to the next section, and we have the next release of handbook on water and wastewater analysis. I invite Dr. Lena Deshpande to please come on the dais and facilitate the release of handbook and share a few words about it.
Lina, you first share what, then we'll do that.
Good afternoon, all. A laboratory without a robust handbook is like a body without soul. 8 months back, during Christmas week last year, our director, Dr. Atul Vaidya sir, called me and expressed his will to have a comprehensive handbook on water and wastewater analysis as an internal publication. The condition was it should be released before my superannuation, which is due in February 2023. The primary intent he had was to bring uniformity in water and wastewater quality assessment, and further, the handbook should serve as a Bible for young scientists and researchers who are working in water and wastewater sector. I started working on it as it was initially planned to release it on World Environment Day, that is 5th June 2022. But then in the month of May 2022, it so happened that we had to address a serious issue associated with provision of self-drinking water to the city of Latur, which had prompted us to investigate on war footing the treatment process and WTP, as also composition and quality of treatment chemicals in detail. In the backdrop of this, in my mind, I decided to include treatability studies, that is JAR test, which is the basis of deciding on the doses of coagulants and disinfectant to be applied in any water treatment plant, or for that matter, wastewater treatment plant also. As also analysis of chemicals used in water and wastewater treatment. And immediately I called the director, Dr. Atul, narrating the same. He promptly, yet fully, you all know he is very cool in all his approach, responded, nothing to worry. Let us postpone the release date to CSIR Foundation Day, and added that handbook should serve as a Bible for future generations. And so, friends, we are here today. Thank you very much, sir, for your initiation, inspiration, and support. The task will be accomplished successfully in time. Second person who played a key role in preparing this handbook is Mrs. Vandana Sindre, Private Secretary in our division, who proactively took up the challenge of ceaselessly keying in 300 pages, which included not only text, but also tables, figures, equations, formulae. Thank you so much, Vandana. How can I forget the support from my head, Dr. Pawan Lakshekar? He spared Vandana as well as supported me in the accomplishment of this gigantic task. Thank you, Dr. Pawan. As I said, a laboratory without a robust handbook is like a body without soul. Yes, this handbook on water and wastewater analysis is an attempt towards bringing in uniformity in water quality assessment and encompasses current analytical techniques for detection and quantification of various water and wastewater quality parameters of significance. It addresses monitoring and sampling techniques and laboratory methods related to surface, ground, and wastewater. It discusses basic concepts of water chemistry and hydrology related to water, sampling, and preservation, analysis, instrumentation, and reporting of results. Illustrated with flowcharts, diagrams, tables, and equations, the text includes detailed methods according to the type of parameters and its application range. Further, The handbook incorporates specifics of treatability studies, analysis of chemicals used in water and wastewater treatment, besides basic statistical concepts and their application to analytical situations. I hope this handbook shall serve as a comprehensive guiding tool for chemists, microbiologists, and researchers engaged in the field of water and wastewater. Last but not the least, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our guest of honor, Professor Amitabh sir, who will be releasing the handbook, and Professor Rohini Golwale Madam, the guest of honor of today's functions, for her virtual presence at the book release event. Thank you all. Thank you.
So this is a comprehensive book, and all of you are supposed to read this and correct this if there are any inadvertent mistakes. It's subject to correction as any scientific book.
Thank you, madam. I think this is, as you already mentioned, this is going to serve a great purpose for the laboratory and also for all the upcoming next generation of researchers who will be there in coming years and using this handbook in various researchers and projects in the organization. So now I move to another important section of this event, that is about. So there was little change, and as I was conveyed, I request our director to provide a memento and say gratitude for his kind presence in this function by giving these visitors the memento to the place. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind presence in this event, despite your health issues. We really feel grateful, and we have really learned a lot with your address. I'm sure our researchers, scientists, and our forthcoming research will definitely take cue from the insights and perspectives that you have shared in this event. Thank you so much, sir. Can we have a huge round of applause for sir for being here? It's another presentation. Thank you, sir.
This is scientific. Right.
So now it's an important segment of this function, and this is about felicitation of our employees who have completed 25 years of service in CSIR. And today we will be presenting these awards and felicitation to those who have completed 25 years of service from September 2020 to August 2021, and those who have superannuated in this duration, and later we call upon all those who have completed their service of 25 years from September 2021 to August 2022, and later who have superannuated in this duration. So first, all those who have completed 25 years of service between September 2020 and August 2021. मैं आपके नाम पुकार दूंगी और कृपया आप आगे आए। श्रीमती जी प्रभा राव, सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी बिल अनुभाग। श्री एस टी कुमार, कार्य सहायक भंडार एवं क्रय। श्री एम ए गोयल, प्रयोगशाला सहायक अभियांत्रिकी सेवा अनुभाग। श्री राजू निनावे, वरिष्ठ तकनीकी विद 2, वाहन अनुभाग। श्री राजेश लिखार, वरिष्ठ आशुलिपिक संस्थापना अनुभाग। श्री आर एस सोनी, वरिष्ठ प्रधान वैज्ञानिक HRDD। श्री सागर निमसटकर, वरिष्ठ तकनीकी अधिकारी 2, AID। श्री माधव चौगंजकर, सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी भंडार एवं क्रय अनुभाग। श्री प्रकाश केलापुरे, सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी भंडार एवं क्रय अनुभाग। श्री SH काले, सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी भंडार एवं क्रय अनुभाग। श्री SH काले। श्री उत्तम ठाकरे, सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी वित्त एवं लेखा अनुभाग।
25 साल का हो गया।
श्री विनयशील पंतामने, अनुभाग अधिकारी भिन्न अनुभाग। और इसी वर्ष में सितंबर 2020 से अगस्त 2021 की अधिवर्षिता की अवधि में अधिवर्षिता पर सेवानिवृत्त होने वालों का मैं नाम बुलाऊंगी। कृपया उन्हें घड़ी और शॉल से पुरस्कृत करें। श्री SD पहाड़े, टी कॉफी मेकर। डॉक्टर हेमंत पुरोहित, पूर्व मुख्य वैज्ञानिक। डॉक्टर हेमंत पुरोहित। श्री IN बंजारी, कार्य सहायक। लगता है बंजारी जी भी नहीं है। हम बढ़ते हैं अगले वर्ष के लिए। सितंबर 2021 से अगस्त 2022 की अवधि में 25 वर्ष इन्होंने पूरे किए। पहला नाम है डॉक्टर M सुरेश कुमार, मुख्य वैज्ञानिक EISD। डॉक्टर अत्या कपले, वरिष्ठ प्रधान वैज्ञानिक EBGD। श्री AS एस दुबे प्रधान तकनीकी अधिकारी, श्री जी एस कानडे वरिष्ठ प्रधान वैज्ञानिक SEAF, श्री UM टापलीकर निजी सचिव राजभाषा एकक, श्री विकास यादव प्रयोगशाला सहायक भर्ती एवं मूल्यांकन अनुभाग, श्री सचिन लाभे वरिष्ठ तकनीकीविद 2 HRDG, श्री दीपक बड़गे वरिष्ठ तकनीकीविद 2 CHFWMD, श्री PG राजेश वरिष्ठ तकनीकीविद 2 EBGD, श्री अनिल गोटे वरिष्ठ तकनीकीविद 2 PRMMG, इनका फोटो खींचना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा। श्रीमती जया सब्जी वाले पूर्व वरिष्ठ तकनीकीविद 2, श्री हरीश कुमार प्रशासनिक अधिकारी प्रशासन विभाग, डॉक्टर सी पद्माकर प्रधान तकनीकी अधिकारी WTMD, डॉक्टर प्रदीप सालवे वरिष्ठ प्रधान वैज्ञानिक BDPMD, श्री VM शिंदे वरिष्ठ तकनीकी अधिकारी 1 SEAF, इसी के साथ अब जो अगला सूची है वो इस दौरान सितंबर 2021 से अगस्त 2022 की अवधि में अधिवर्षिका पर जो सेवानिवृत्त हो चुके हैं उनके नाम पुकारूंगी। श्री लक्ष्मी नारायण पूर्व ड्राइवर की बेटी आई है क्या? श्रीमती जया सब्जी वाले पूर्व वरिष्ठ तकनीकी विद 2, RZ पाल पूर्व सुरक्षा रक्षक, डॉक्टर RN सोनी वरिष्ठ प्रधान वैज्ञानिक, श्री DL वासनिक सहायक अनुभाग अधिकारी। आप सभी को हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं नीरी परिवार की तरफ से। And now we move to the next category of award, and these awards are given to children of CSIR-NEERI employees who have excelled in their studies. So the first award is of studentship, and that is worth rupees 1,500, and this is given to Master Joal Jiju Varghese, who is son of Engineer Jiju Varghese, Technical Grade 2-4, as he has secured admission in 2020 in BTech in IIT. So this is for 4 years. Next award is to daughter of Dr. Papia Mandal, Miss Meenakshi Mandal, again studentship award of rupees 1,500. She has also secured admission in 2021 in BTech in IIT and also secured 90% marks or above in each of the minimum 3 science subjects in 12th class. Congratulations. I think she will not be there. Another award is lump sum cash award that is given for securing 90% marks or above in each of minimum 3 science subjects in 12th class in 2021 and is given to Ms. Deepika Rajesh Lohiya, who is daughter of Dr. Rajesh Lohiya, Senior Technical Officer. So this lump sum cash award is of rupees 3,000. Account transfer. You have to be friendly. The next award is given again for studentship at rupees 1,500 to Mr. Vaibhav Jakar, son of Sri Subhash Chandra SPO, and he has secured admission in PGP in management of 2 years duration through Common Admission Test of CAT in IIM Calcutta. Heartiest congratulations to Vaibhav. Another lump sum award is to Master Tadepalli Praneeth, a son of Dr. BPS Ramakrishna, who is principal scientist in Hyderabad Zonal Laboratory. Praneeth has secured 90% marks in each of minimum 3 science subjects in 12th standard in 2021. The lump sum award is of 3,000, and he has also secured 100% marks in science subject in 12th class. So again, that's a moment of rejoicing. Another lump sum award is of rupees 3,000 to Master Vedant Chichmalkar, who is son of Sri Praveen Chichmalkar, for securing 90% marks or above in each of minimum 3 science subjects in 12th class in 2021. So huge congratulations to all these students who have secured good marks and also secured admissions in prestigious universities. Now, for prize distributions to schools, as NEERI observed Open Day on 26 September, and you will be amazed to know that there were more than 36 schools from Vidarbha who participated and more than 2,169 students who visited our different laboratories, interacted with our scientists, researchers, and technical staff. There were several competitions also in this duration that were organized. So for prize distribution, I invite Ms. Monica to share the details. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you, ma'am. As per science model exhibition, we have 3 categories. Category 1, 5th to 7th standard, category 2, 8th to 10th standard, and category 3, 11th to 12th standards. First prize goes to from category 1, Bhavan's BP Vidya Mandir Ashdeep. They represent model on multifunctional heating system. I request concert teacher and students to please come on stage. And the second prize goes to Central Point School, Katol Road. They represent model on Eco Smart Village. I request consult teacher to come on stage. Center Point School, Katol Road. I think that's it. Center Point School, Katol Road. Anyone present? Yes. Thank you, Arjit Medhantu. And the third prize as the joint prize, Medhantu. Sorry, Medhantu. And the third prize as the joint prize, South Public School, Ring Road, and NEERI Model School. They represent model on manual recruit model and green vehicle. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage and receive prize. Please. And South Public School, Ring Road, Nagpur. Anyone from South Public School? Anyone from South Public School? Okay. And now category 2, 8 to 10 standard, first prize goes to School of Scholars. They represent model on auto power cutoff or increased noise pollution. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage. School of Scholars, Vanadumri. Is anyone present from School of Scholars? Yes, please come on stage. And the second prize goes to Montfort School, Nagpur. They represent model on waste management river cleaning model. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage. Thank you. And the third prize from category 2 goes to Somalwara High School. They represent model on air pollution control, pollution free city. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage. Thank you, Vaishnavi ma'am. And from third category, 11 to 12 standard, first prize goes to Swaminarayan School, Nagpur, and they represent the model on oil separation from water using ferrofluid. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage. And the second prize goes to Jain Tata Parsi High School, Gandhinagar, Nagpur, and they represent model on eco-brick system solution for plastic pollution. I request concerned teacher and student please come on stage. And the third prize goes to Bhavan's BP Vidya Mandir Art Steel, low for low humidity air cooler. I request teacher and student please come on stage. Thank you all schools. Other remaining participant certificates will be distributed after this program.
Thank you, Monica. And I'm sure this excitement and cheer and voices take us back to our childhood when winning an award in such a prestigious platform was such a zeal and excitement for all of us. A huge round of applause once again for all these students and let's innovation on our scientists. Now, an important milestone of this function and indeed an exciting opportunity to listen to our next speaker and chief guest. I'm really feeling proud to introduce her to this esteemed audience. Professor Padma Shri Professor Rohini M. Godbole currently holds honorary professorship at the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. She is a theoretical particle physicist. She retired from the Center for High Energy Physics of the ISC after serving for almost 25 years. She has also worked in different capacities in a number of universities in India, Europe, and the USA, including at CERN, Geneva. She has also been conferred honorary DLET and DSc for her research over the past 4 decades on exploring the standard model of particle physics and physics beyond the standard model that has resulted in more than 300 publications in various reputed high-impact journals as well as graduate textbooks. She is a fellow of the World Academy of Sciences, QAS, and she has also been elected to all the 3 Science Academies of India. Not only this, she has served as Vice President of the Indian National Academy of Sciences, Allahabad, and is currently serving Vice President of the Indian Academy of Sciences. She has been a member of CERN India Task Force, and now she is a member of Steering Committee. She is member of various editorial boards of national and international journals and is also advisory board of Oxford Research Encyclopedia for Physics. Professor Godbole is not only a scientist but is also an avid supporter of the cause of women in science, working over the past decades to facilitate more effective participation of women in the scientific workforce. I would also like to add she has also documented a book, Leelavati's Daughters of, and these are about 100 biographies of women scientists of India. Now, this is an interesting aspect of her profile. She chaired the Committee on Equity and Inclusion for Science, India's Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy of 2020. She has extensive contributions to science and society that has been recognized at various national levels, and that's how she was conferred Padma Shri in 2019. And not only this, she was also honored with Ordre National du Mérite that was given to her by French government in 2021. I will go on and on. There is no end to whatever she has done for science and women empowerment in India. So I'll put a full stop here and will invite Madam to please go ahead with her chief guest address to this gathering. Over to you, Madam.
Good afternoon. I must first really thank Dr. Vaidya for inviting me to these celebrations of the 81st Foundation Day of CSIR. And Dr. Kumbhare for putting up with my requests, and the last one being that I have to have this talk online. All I can tell you is that I am not the guilty party. The guilty party is the American consulate, who actually sent the passport in during this celebrations, during this meeting. And this delivery of the passport was the thing which has kept me back here in Bangalore. So apologies. I wish I could be there on this important occasion. It's a great pleasure to have witnessed and actually heard the talk by the your chief honored guest of honor, as well as the presentation by the honored director NEERI. And it even more important, if I, with due apologies to both of you, very senior and distinguished people, even more the younger people whom I see in the audience, and which I think hold the future of our science and technology ecospace. It was wonderful. It's also wonderful to see so many women because in the audience. So all in all, I just feel very bad that I'm not there personally. I will try to keep my remarks somewhat brief, seeing the lateness of the hour. But what I will do is that instead of talking just like this, I would actually try to share my slides, particularly because, when the communication is across a distance, it might be useful to see the slides on screen side by side. So I will begin by sharing my slides, and that will take, I hope, not more than a minute. Of course, it does take more than a minute. Let's see. 1 second. Because if I don't succeed in sharing it, then I will just start talking. 1 second. Because we had checked it actually last night. Share. Okay. Window. Good. Can you people see my screen? Very good. So thank you very much for your patience. So as I said, I am absolutely delighted to talk today. And what I have decided to do is to talk about one of the topics that dear to my heart, and I was very pleased to hear it in the Dr. Vaidya's address, that it is also dear to the heart of the CSIR DG. And I am going beyond the empowerment of women. I'm going to talk about importance of inclusion in the vision of the new CSIR. And indeed, what is the plan of my talk? I will first spend a few minutes in talking about CSIR and its importance in India's STI ecosystem as I see it. And then I will talk about why diversity and inclusion are important aspects of the activities which bring benefits of science to society. And I will also specifically tell you which few aspects of diversity I will focus in my talk. And then I will finish by trying to tell you one particular aspect about CSIR's goals and missions, namely entrepreneurship, and why I feel that the entrepreneurship is particularly relevant in the context of women in science, and what special purpose supporting the women entrepreneurship for women in science would serve a very special purpose, and maybe end with some of the many avenues that are available these days. So CSIR, first to begin with, happy Founders Day. CSIR is the part of the time period that has been leading for the last 75 years India's march on path of science, technology, and innovation. The triumvirate is the UGC, the Science Departments of Government of India, and CSIR. And they have dealt with the education, research, and innovation to guide our country on the path to progress. Personally, on a personal note, CSIR gave me a research associateship for a few months when I was a young researcher in between jobs. I have been involved in various capacities with CSIR, and mainly the extramural research division, given the somewhat esoteric nature of my own science pursuits, which deals with fundamental particles. And currently, I am also proud to be the mentor editor of the Indian Journal of Pure and Applied Physics of CSIR. So, what is CSIR's vision and mission? From the web page, I have taken this, and I think that was already read by our MC of today's event, that CSIR's vision is pursue science which strives for global impact, technology that enables innovation-driven industry, and nurture transdisciplinary leadership, thereby catalyzing inclusive economic development for the people of India. After 75 years of independence, and as they say in Old English, 80 years of its existence, CSIR is now redefining itself, revitalizing itself with changing times, as was already told to us. And again, what is the CSIR vision and mission? There were various bulleted items again from the web page. And I, in my talk, I'm going to focus on 3 of these bulleted items, namely science and engineering leadership, science-based entrepreneurship, and socio-economic transformations through S&T interventions. And I want to talk about the importance of inclusion for these three bullet points which appear in CSIR's mission and vision. Let me just first give you some thoughts of my own and which align with what has been said so far by me. These are on the science, technology, innovation, and connect between that and the society in general. It is very clear that we need science, technology, and innovation together to act together to bring the fruits of new developments to the society. But when these three things come together with an entrepreneurial spirit, it adds economic development to the list of benefits. And we actually have myriad of examples, particularly in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, which is, thank God, just about receding. For example, things like vaccine development of rapid, accurate, and in-free testing protocols, designs of inexpensive ventilators. These are examples where science, technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship came together to help the society and solve its problem. So in general, there are certain thoughts that I want to give on entrepreneurship in general, that encouraging innovations which will bring applications of science and technology to the society is really part of CSI's mission and vision and program. And I already read out 2 points, namely science-based entrepreneurship and socio-economic transformations through S&T interventions. Now, what I want to, my thesis today is to point out importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think they are a very important part of the journey on the road of these two science-based entrepreneurship and path of socio-economic transformation. Now, since there are a lot of people in the audience who might find these words diversity, inclusion, etc., equity, all kind of too confusing, let me say it very simply. Diversity in science simply means participation of different types of groups. It can be diversity of gender, it can be diversity of language. Some people might feel convenient today, could be comfortable today if I spoke in Hindi. Some might be more comfortable if I spoke in Marathi, so on and so forth. Similarly, social and economic class, geographical region, knowledge systems, so on and so forth. Traditionally, some groups are better represented than others. And when I say that we need to have diversity, equity, and inclusion, it means we have to include those groups which have been so far excluded, maybe sometimes for historical reasons, such as traditional knowledge systems, or equity for those underrepresented groups, where some inclusion already exists, like gender. So, in case of gender, we would want to achieve equity. In case of traditional knowledge systems, we believe that we need to focus on including them in the general path towards application of technology and science to societal development. So, one of the motivations, which I already said, of diversity, equity, and inclusion is to correct the historical injustices and the resulting exclusion of the different groups from processes of science. But let me also emphasize that it is equally important to realize that inclusion and diversity can only aid in increasing the efficacy of the scientific processes by increasing the dimensionality of the scientific ecosystem, which can only lead to further excellence. What does it mean? It means that diversity and inclusion increases the directions in which the scientific investigations can develop. At this point, I want to actually quote and remember Dharmapal, whose birth centenary we are celebrating this year. Many of my young colleagues may not even know his name. He was a great, I would say, for me, a great philosopher. And he said, it is not the Shastras and the Pandits that preserved our cultures and traditions, but the women and the Shudras. So when we talk, for example, of accessing the traditional knowledge systems, which are essential, which is very essential to access the knowledge base of all sectors of society. So the point that I'm trying to make is that diversity, equity, and inclusion is not just for the people who are excluded, but it is also because it is good for the development of science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. And why? I already referred to this, but now I will say a little bit more. Who we are affects what we do in science. Science is objective and universal. Newton's law will be Newton's law, even if it was discovered by Rohini Godbole. But issues in science that one chooses to investigate, processes that are put in place for scientific investigations, can all be influenced by our cultural and gender backgrounds. It takes a Shalini Arya of ICT to do research on newer methods of preservation of traditional foods such as chapati. And that had clearly to do something with her own childhood experiences. So I want to discuss importance of inclusion in the context of gender and knowledge systems. I will not, as I told you, diversity and inclusion means knowledge system, gender, language, geographical regions, age even. But I'm going to focus on gender and knowledge systems. And in the context of the three parts of the CSIR mission, which I already told you, which were written in red on one of my slides, science and technology leadership, science-based entrepreneurship, and socio-economic development through STI interventions. And to this end, I think, I want to kind of talk about the desirability. I have so far only done that. Now I want to tell you what is it that we are concretely as a country doing, and then I will come to what I think CSIR has been doing and what they can do further. So STIP 2020, which was a science, technology, and innovation policy, which will be, which is still a draft policy, but I believe it will be adopted very soon. This was released in January 2021, and this has a very important, it is different from our earlier science and technology policies in a very important way, because it has a separate discussion of equity and inclusion. That is the point that I'm trying to belabor here in this short talk. And what it means is that the discussion of equity and inclusion cuts across all different issues that affect science and technology development. Previously, we had one discussion of gender equity, another one including those on the margins of society, etc., etc., etc. Now we believe that a holistic approach is what will take us faster towards our aim. And this policy actually provides renewed impetus to the mainstreaming of equity and inclusion within the STI ecosystem. I'm literally copying the lines which are there in the executive summary. An India-centric equity and inclusion charter is supposed to be developed for tackling all forms of discrimination, exclusions, and inequalities in STI. And there, the focus has been given for development of an institutional mechanism. So I'm now requesting the CSIR institutions to lead the way. They have already begun leading the way. The fact is that in 80 years, CSIR has got a first woman DG for the first time. So I want to request CSIR and its institutions to think about specific measures that one can institute at the institutional levels before they are not because they are mandated by the government, by analyzing the situation of each institution, which is very different, in terms of how we can make the atmosphere more inclusive. Now I come to the traditional knowledge system and innovation. An example of traditional knowledge system and innovation is actually the application of Ayurveda during the times of coronavirus. But of course, before we adopt the traditional knowledge systems, it's and before we innovate them, we have to first validate the traditional knowledge systems. Now, CSIR, in fact, has contributed enormously to some of these processes thanks to its leaders like Mashawekar and Samir Brahmachari and so on. Here, specifically, I speak of two initiatives of CSIR. One is the Traditional Knowledge Digital Library, which is, of course, to preserve the traditional knowledge. And the second is open source drug discovery, which is about diversity and open access to knowledge and information, which is normally hidden under patents and legal hurdles. Now, I want to make an appeal to you that quite often the keepers of the traditional knowledge, especially in the context of medicine, agriculture, are actually grassroots innovators. And who are these grassroots innovators? They are women as well as people who are outside the mainstream of the knowledge systems that you and I participate in. Recall here the words of Dharampal, that it is not the Shastras and the Pandits that preserve the Indian tradition. It is he went to say that it was women and the Shudras, but it is the practitioners who have kept the practices alive. So it is important, of course, to validate traditional knowledge systems and then innovate. And I am hoping that CSIR can even more put in processes where that they can help and put in processes to help these grassroots innovators do the validation to begin with. And that is something, one of the recommendations that we have actually given to in STEEP 2020, not that CSIR do it. We have simply said that all the governmental agencies should try to think in terms of helping the grassroots innovations. And given the special emphasis that CSIR has on industrial applications, I think this becomes appeal to CSIR becomes even stronger. And because the idea is that these grassroots innovators have to convert the innovations into patents, products, and it has to lead to economic development. Actually, one of the things that was discussed when we drafted the chapter on equity and inclusion in STI in the context of grassroots innovators was that we need to increase the access of the grassroots innovators to processes for this validation and converting innovations into products. Now, I feel that CSIR, with its large number of field stations that are flung, to corners of India, would be in excellent position to help add, give extra help to these grassroots innovators. For example, first to validate, and secondly to, for example, develop a product, get a patent, and so on and so forth. Now I will go to gender. I said I want to talk about knowledge systems, but now I want to put a little bit focus on gender. There are multiple contexts in which consideration of gender aspect are actually quite important in the context of the two aims of CSIR, that are three aims that I have put forward. I already said this, that women are keepers of traditional knowledge, may it be medicinal practices, maybe agricultural methodology, or maybe traditional food. And as I already said, that many of these can in turn lead to important innovations. In fact, the references of Anil Gupta's book, Grassroots Innovation. So this part I already dealt with, I discussed it. But I want to point one more point about why entrepreneurship has a particular gender aspect in my own mind. To begin with, I want to actually pay my respects to the grandmother of those all women entrepreneurs. And there is a wonderful book by Gangaben Yadnik, which she published in 1898, called, I should have put the name here. I have forgotten the name. I promised to give you the slides with the name of the book on the slide. But it had compilation of about 2080 trades, skills, and household tips for self-employment. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about. And training in science adds actually to the ways and means to this 2080 ways. Additionally, ways and means in which women can be entrepreneurs, can become financially independent, and add to the development of society and increase the impact of science. Why do I say that? Let me explain this in a few minutes. Actually, in India, compared to the rest of the world, the participation of women in studying science, for that matter, teaching science, you will find many of you, we have had excellent science teachers, women science teachers, at all levels, whether it is in school, college, university. None of the places the fraction of women studying science or teaching science is small. But where is it small? It is small when we start thinking about number of women doing science. That is certainly not commensurate with the number that studies science. Number of women in science in India is not small, but surely the number of women in Indian science is small. And we are all of us always agonizing and trying to figure out how to prevent this loss of Indian science. And we think that this will come only through empowerment of women. Of course, that's one way, but there are other ways. And I want to talk about that. Now, before this general statement that I gave you, let me also present a plot for you. It's a representative plot, and I have some real numbers. If anybody is interested, I can read them to documents. So, this is what I meant, that we have, large number of women undergraduate students in science, large number of women under master's students in science. Actually, the number of women in percentage of women getting PhD in science is about 35% today. But when you go to postdocs and young faculty, this immediately drops to 15%. And then when you go to professors and senior faculty, it goes down further to 10%. And when you start talking about science leaders, high achievers, it goes down to 4%, 3%. Talk of Infosys awards, talk of the Bhatnagar awards, talk of the academic fellowships, and then the talk of heads of the institutions, and the numbers are minuscule. How do we compare with the rest of the world? The world average for women in research is about 30%. And this diagram shows you that different colors correspond to different percentages. And here you see India is 0 to 30%, this pale lavender color, and the number is actually 15%, which means that we are in the middle of this lowest subgroup. And even, all the other countries close to us actually have much bigger fractions. And this is a cause for concern that we need to worry about. So the Indian problem is not the development of human resource, but also of human resource deployment. And this is where, we have to think of plugging this loss. And a country which is committed on path of innovation, we cannot afford this kind of brain drain. This loss of scientific human resource has to be stopped. Apart from losing the advantages of the diverse workforce brings, this is pragmatically also a problem of low return on what we are investing. So this is the problem, and actually this is understood. And there are a large number of obvious cures to solve this obvious problem that have been suggested. And actually, many of these are directed towards getting women in faculty positions, in R&D jobs. And actually, CSIR has been also very active in these contexts. And I'm very, very pleased to hear about the emphasis on empowerment of women. And that would come through policies that exist to come back to a career after a break in a career, policies for flexi times, encouraging young girls to choose science and technology, holding special training programs for women scientists. This is all very good, and this is all will happen. It is necessary, but not sufficient. The numbers are very big, and the drop is too steep. Now, here I want to make the last point that the entrepreneurship can be one more way to plug this loss. How can it be? It provides one extra pathway to avoid the brain drain. This is one road when flexi times are automatically possible. A break in the career is not as detrimental to future development as in basic science research, where the clock of science is ticking continuously when the body clock is also ticking. There exist many possibilities of the use of special skills that one acquires during a PhD. It can be the expertise in the core subject, or it can be the tools and techniques that are required in the niche area, or simply a certain understanding of research methodology. The possibilities are endless, beginning from scientific communication, offering copy editing services to students, scientists, and journals, to using the core knowledge towards developing, for example, something like a drug delivery system. One of my colleagues, who is not an engineer, who is a biologist, in consultation with engineers, developed actually a very interesting drug delivery system. Everything goes. And there are many examples. And a lot of them right now are in the area of biotechnology. BIRAC actually plays a very special role. And I feel that CSIR could actually set up a special program directed at women for entrepreneurship using their science training. Again, I want to tell you here who we are affects what we do. For example, this is young Aditi Gupta. She created what is called Ministropedia. And this is actually just now, she has received 50 lakh at 20% equity from CEO of MQ Pharmaceuticals for the small startup. And you can see how young she is. Age is also no bar. So there are, many pathways in which women entrepreneurs can actually contribute. There is this wonderful book by Autumn Stanley called Mothers and Daughters of Invention. So there are 5, 6 areas. One is agriculture and related technology. I already mentioned it. Medicine and health. I already mentioned it. Kiran Majumdar Shah is a shining example of an entrepreneur. Fertility and anti-fertility. Our own Indira Hinduja, who started a big program with this. Tools and machines. I could not find really right now an Indian example, but I can give an example of a Dutch uh, engineer called Caroline Bleeker, who was actually responsible for discovery of phase contrast microscope, which actually got a Nobel Prize, but she was not the Nobel Prize winner. Then computers and related technology. There is Suchi Mukherjee, who has an entrepreneur in that subject. So according to Forbes India, over 20% of MSME are owned by women entrepreneurs, which amounts to about 23.3% of the labor force. So that's a great thing. The number is rising at much faster pace, with 50% of the India startup ecosystem is empowered by women in some or the other way. All the major research and teaching institutes are interested in incubation centers, and possibilities are endless. I'm really thinking that CSIR could step in here and think about supporting grassroots women entrepreneurs who may not be able to easily reach the incubation centers of the major research and teaching institutions. So this is the case of Muhammad going if Muhammad going to the mountain, rather mountain going to Muhammad, if it's not the other way around. So the journey on the path towards an Atmanirbhar prospering India requires all hands on deck, no matter what gender, no matter what knowledge system, no matter what race, no matter what language. CSIR already has many processes in place to harness all the sources to achieve this mission, being even more inclusive with respect to the knowledge systems, gender, and social groups in these processes will make the journey even more successful. All my best to CSIR towards its vision of new CSIR for New India in the coming years. Thank you very much, and thanks for your patience.
Thank you so much, madam, for bringing all these important discussions at the right time in our CSR Foundation Day program. I think what you talked about diversity, inclusiveness, this is going to transform how CSR functions in next coming years. Thank you for your presence. Though online, it is definitely motivating and helped us and inspired us for the coming time. So with this, the last segment, but before that, I would like to invite Dr. P. Nagababu regarding awards for Udan. Udan is a group of researchers in NEERI with the tagline, let research fly. What more there is, give it to the right person to provide brief and also share the information on who are the award winners of these poster competitions. Dr. Nagababu.
Yes. Thank you. Dignitaries in the dais, colleagues, friends, and my dear students, a very good afternoon to all. The second session of this Udan 2022 program has been completed on occasion of our CSIR Foundation Day, that is the last Monday. As per the instruction from our director, sir, to encourage the scientific temper of the students, we conducted a poster presentation competition in between our students. This time, we have received around 20 posters. So we have invited external judges from various subject areas to evaluate these posters. All posters are good and informative, and they are presented very well. We have selected 6 posters based on the marks given by external experts. So one by one, I will call the names, and dear students, please be ready. I would like to request our director sir to present these awards to the students. The first prize goes to Neha Vacha Sundar. He scored highest marks in the presentation. Be ready, second one, Deepak Panchal. The first prize, these 2 people are shared. And the second prize goes to Shraddhanjali Sethi. And the second one, Amit Kumar. And third prize goes to Utkarsha and Ankush Kulakar. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Udan team, I'm thanking you, Director Sir and Railu Madam and colleagues, those who have visited our estate that day, and security officer especially because he cooperated very nicely. And very special thanks to the students from RSH for their excellent cooperation to success this program. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. And congratulations once again to all the award winners of the Quran poster competition. Before I invite Prakash Kumar sir for a vote of thanks, there was a miss in between. Daughter of Sri Lakshmi Narayan ji is here, so I will request Director sir to please felicitate her. Sri Lakshmi Narayan, who is ex-driver, superannuated in between the duration of September 2021 to September, August 2022. I'm sure these 2 hours, more than a little bit more of 2 hours, were really exciting, interesting. We learned a lot. We got motivated. The news beat to go back to our labs and perform. And also the researchers and young students who won different prizes and take back the message to their schools why science is so important to make a new India with a new mission and vision. So now I invite Engineer Prakash Kumar sir for vote of thanks and further announcements.
इसको मैं मंचा सीन महानुभाव भी नहीं कह सकता। महानुभाव में सिर्फ हमारे नीतीश कुमार और लीना देशपांडे मैडम है। मैडम ऑनलाइन है और हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर चले गए। तो मैं दोनों गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर जो हमारे सीक्रेट गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर है उनको बहुत बहुत मेरा दिल से धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने हमारा निमंत्रण स्वीकार किया और यहाँ पर आए। और मैडम ने जो बात कही वो सही है कि जो वुमन ब्रेन ड्रेन की बात कही है उन्होंने, हमारे पास इनॉर्मस डाइवर्सिटी है, उसमें से हमें टैप करना है ब्रेन्स और हम वो नहीं कर पा रहे। उन्होंने डिफरेंट लेवल्स दिखाई, तो हमें उसके लिए आज CSIR फाउंडेशन डे है, उसके लिए हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए। हमारे जो गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर उन्होंने भी यही बताया कि जो हमारा जो इश्यूज है इंडस्ट्री और साइंस और इकोलॉजी एनवायरमेंट इकोनॉमी सारे इंटरलिंक्ड है, उसको हमें करना चाहिए। डायरेक्टर साहब ने भी जो ब्रीफ किया है CSIR से आने के बाद कि हमें रीअलाइनमेंट की जरूरत है, रिविजिट है, रिवाइटलाइजेशन है, वो सारी चीजें होंगी। तो बहुत ही शॉर्ट में बोलूंगा मेरा थैंक्स। और मैं एक अनाउंसमेंट करना चाहूंगा, मुझे व्हाट्सएप मैसेज मिला डॉक्टर नितिन लाखेटवार के बेटे, मैं यहाँ पे अनाउंस करना चाहूंगा नमन लाखेटवार, उन्होंने भी आप ताली बजाएंगे उसके लिए। नमन मास्टर नमन लास्ट पेपर में 90% तो साइंस सब्जेक्ट में 21 में अभाव किया है, लेकिन वो किस तरह से मेरा शायद मेल वो उन्होंने लिखा है स्किप कर रहे हैं, लेकिन सर वो सर्टिफिकेट आपका मिलेगा आपको आपके और मैं 2-3 इवेंट्स है उसका बस वो शॉर्ट में करूंगा। एक तो हमारा इवेंट था साइंस कंपटीशन कम एग्जीबिशन, उसमें बहुत सारी मेहनत हुई है, इसलिए कि हमारी जो जूरी थी उनका नाम मेरे ख्याल से अभिषेक कसारिया थे और विष्णु काटे थे और अतुल माधुरी जी थे। तो ये तीनों ने बहुत अच्छी भूमिका निभाई और यकीन कीजिए स्टूडेंट्स की बहुत जो ट्रांसपेरेंट वे में जूरी ने आपको दिया है, ये मत समझिए जिसको नहीं मिला है वो किसी से कम थे, लेकिन जो मेरे पैरामीटर्स थे, जो प्रॉब्लम्स आपने आइडेंटिफाई किए, उसके सॉल्यूशंस कैसे दिए, उसमें साइंस का इन्वॉल्व था, उसका आपका प्रेजेंटेशन कैसा था, तो एक क्यूमुलेटिव असेसमेंट हुआ है। तो इसमें आप ये ना सोचिए कि किसी पर्टिकुलर स्कूल में हमारा मॉडल अच्छा था तो कंपेयर नहीं कीजिए, लेकिन अगले प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप उससे बेटर परफॉर्म कीजिए। तो जो जिनको मिला उनको भी मेरा बहुत बहुत आपको अभिनंदन, और जिनको नहीं मिला उससे ज्यादा अभिनंदन, क्योंकि उन्होंने कोशिश काफी की और इसके लिए तालियां बजाई है। और टीचर्स का भी बहुत सहयोग रहा है इसलिए, और यहाँ जो मेहनत लगी है, जो मेरे हमारे प्रेडिसेसर्स और सारे डिविजन्स, तो उन्होंने भी काफी मेहनत की। अब मैं आता हूँ CSIR जो पॉपुलेशन डे के जो विजिट्स की लेबोरेटरीज की, उसमें लगभग 2200 के करीबन विजिटर्स थे, उसमें स्टूडेंट्स थे और टीचर्स भी थे, और उनको कोऑर्डिनेट करना आसान नहीं था। पार्किंग भी आपने देखी होगी, उस दिन गेट के में सारे दोनों साइड पे पार्किंग लगी हुई थी। तो इसमें सारे प्रोजेक्ट असिस्टेंट, सारे साइंटिस्ट और सारे डिविजन्स और सभी कैंटीन हो चाहे फिर जो भी डिविजन्स इसमें सारे इन्वॉल्व थे, उनका बहुत बहुत थैंक्स, उधर से थैंक्स। और इनके लिए सबके लिए पूरे इंस्टीट्यूट की लिए आप तालियां बजाइए, क्योंकि ये था जो उन्होंने परफॉर्मेंस किया है, टीम वर्क किया था, और जो उसमें एक अचीवमेंट जो नाम गया है पूरा हमारा संस्थान के बाहर, तो उन्होंने काफी प्रशंसा की है, मुझे काफी फोर्स दिया है। तो कोऑर्डिनेशन इतनी संख्या में होने के बाद जो एक्सट्रीम लाइन था पूरा कोऑर्डिनेशन और आपके सभी का सहयोग था, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत आपका थैंक्स। और जो चीजें जो मेरे अभी यहाँ पे आए हैं आप सब इनवाइटीज और स्टूडेंट्स और टीचर्स, उनका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का। और जो डायरेक्टली और इनडायरेक्टली जो भी इन्वॉल्व थे उन सभी को मैंने कल इनको बताया और उन्होंने बहुत रेडीली एक्सेप्ट किया, क्योंकि मेरे पास ना कंपेयर के बहुत कम ऑप्शन है। मैं आपको मतलब क्योंकि बहुत देश परत के देना पड़ता है ये जॉब, उतना आसान नहीं होता सर, क्योंकि और आज की तो पता है आपने देखा होगा पूरे 2 घंटे में जो फ्लो देखा होगा आपने, प्राइस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का बहुत स्मूथ चला है और फास्ट चला है। तो उसके लिए पूरा जो हम होमवर्क करते हैं तो कम से कम आधा घंटा लगता है उस चीज में, मुझे बताने नहीं चाहिए। और सारे पेरेंट्स जो आए हैं, पेरेंट्स और जो जिनको जो अवार्डीज है आज के, उन्होंने हमारा एक्सेप्ट किया है, इन्विटेशन और अवार्ड एक्सेप्ट किया, इसके लिए भी आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो इसी के साथ मैं यहाँ पे और मैं माफी चाहता हूँ अगर किसी का नाम भूल गया हूँ और किसी ने कुछ योगदान तो सभी का रहा है, तो मैं माफी चाहता हूँ यदि किसी का नाम भूल गया हूँ। और यहाँ पे मैं इस कार्यक्रम की समाप्ति की घोषणा करता हूँ, लेकिन इसके बाद हम राष्ट्रगान होगा, तो मैं सभी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि नेशनल एंथम की तैयारी
जय गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा, गंगा हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
थैंक यू। आप बैठ जाएंगे थोड़ा सा क्योंकि इवेंट सेगमेंट